Hi everyone, this is Marji Alaniz and this is FarmHer Talks. Thoughtful conversations to connect and inspire the FarmHer in all of us.
Welcome to Peosta, Iowa, home of the National Education Center for Agricultural Safety. It only takes 4 seconds for an adult to be entrapped in grain, and in 20 seconds they can be completely buried with little hope for survival. Follow me into the bin as I go through a rescue operation. So this is the bin that I am going to be sunk into, and as you can see it's filled with corn, and I'm going to go into this bin. They're going to turn on an auger and I'm going to drop down into the corn past my waist. So I'm a little nervous. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to be all hooked up. I'm going to be hooked on a harness up here, and they're going to make sure they keep me safe.
Your average grain bin rescue time in America from the time the fire department gets on scene is about 3.5 hours. So that's a long time to be on scene. And from the family member side of it, they're on the outside of the bin. They're not being able to see their loved one and what's going on. So that 3.5 hours to them seems like an eternity.
Getting the safety harness on. This is a really important piece. It is going to make sure that no matter what, I stay safe. Which obviously we're dealing with grain, and the whole reason that we're doing this is to talk about safety and how to not get in these situations, but if these situations do occur, that we deal with it. So he's hooking me in really tight here, and this metal on metal piece is really important in this type of harness. It helps you know that you're all hooked up correctly. Yeah, that's probably better.
So the thought process is, again, we need to shut the auger, we need to check for oxygen content, make sure we've got at least 19.5% in the bin. Then we're going to carry the panels in, and we're going to put the panels around the victim if their head is above the level of the grain, and then we're going to sink those panels down, and then we're going to use a grain rescue auger, and we're going to auger that grain out, which will probably be 4 to 5 minutes to be able to get them to where they're loose. We don't just want to go in there and grab them and yank out because the pressure that's going to be put on the body could injure them if we do that. So we want to make sure that we do it correctly. The first thing is the zero entry mentality, because if I never enter into the bin, I can't get trapped, okay? So secondly though, if I have to get in the bin, there's some things that I need to do to make sure that I keep safe. So first is locking out and tagging out the power source to the auger. Second is checking the oxygen content to make sure I've got at least 19.5%. Be wearing a full body harness and be tied off before going in. And then the number one rule that's broken, especially in agriculture, is entering into a confined space is a minimum of a 2-person job. The person entering into the bin, and then there has to be a reliable attendant, and their one and only job is to be watching the person that's in the bin. And if they become unresponsive or if they become trapped, it's not my job as the attendant to try to go in after them. Because if it was a low oxygen situation and they become unresponsive and I try to go in after them, I can't hold my breath long enough to be able to get them.
First of all, we started in 2014. It's an advocacy program. We tell everybody it's not about insurance, it's an industry problem with Grain Bin Safety Week. We have sponsors, and I can't go on without talking about how important it is to have sponsors like Nikas and KC Supply, and there are just a lot of other sponsors who make what we do happen. I've got a great team. The Grain Bin Safety Week team itself nationwide has dedicated a lot of resources to put together the program to raise awareness, to raise education about the hazards of entering a grain structure. And so it's just been, we started out in 2014, we gave away 1 rescue tube. It gets bigger and better. We add more sponsors. We add more people that's involved not only in Des Moines but in Columbus each year. And it's just been a phenomenal effort.
What our core values are for Cortevea Agriscience, one of the top ones is live safely. That's truly one of our core values, and we live and breathe that every day. And so at the end of the day, right, it's about making sure that all of our families, we return to our families at the end of the night, and that's not only for our employees, but also, of course, our farmer customers as well. Safety is so important and ingrained in our culture, And when we started to learn more about Grain Bin Safety Week and about the important work that NICAS is doing on the education and the training and the rescue tubes, we just knew that that's such a natural fit for Cortevea Agriscience because it's keeping farmers safe.
Are you claustrophobic?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but we'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
No, the biggest thing is we'll be talking to you. Just take deep breaths.
Yeah.
We will get you out of here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's frightening. Frightening isn't the right word. There's a lot of, this is a heavy situation, right?
So Margie's going to be going in there. So
Okay,
if she
step
would
in here.
follow the proper procedure for entering the bin. Again, the first thing we're going to need
Okay.
to do is to lock out
So
and to
just kind of
tag
put your
out
legs together a little bit.
source for that auger.
And then-
Shut power off.
I'm shaking. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. You guys are going to count me down or tell me what's going to happen here?
Surprise, yeah.
On Margie, we have a 4-gas detector on her that's checking for oxygen content to make sure we've got at least 19.5%. You can see she's wearing the harness. She's all set, ready to go, and we've got people there that are watching. So I want you to watch just how quickly it is that Margie's gonna sink. You ready?
Okay, as ready as I'm going to be. Okay, I'm definitely going down quick. I already can't move my legs at all. It feels like I'm in cement. I can't move my legs at all.
15 seconds to be able to get her sunk. Are you trapped,
And these
Margie?
guys are making it worse.
Are you trapped?
I can't move.
I can't
so
move.
yes.
Okay.
I am
By the
definitely
way,
trapped.
I don't know if I told you, but
So
when
much
we
dust.
filled the bin up, I didn't see any mice in there. But if you feel anything nibbling at your toes or anything, let me know. Okay?
You're gonna hear some
So
serious
now
screaming
we've
if
got
that
the
happens.
fire department that's responding. Now remember, the tube is already up
Okay.
on top of the bin here.
Yeah, there's so much dust that came up when that happened too, that it like instantly went up into my nose and was kind of unexpected.
So who's going to be our first rescuer getting in? Casey? So Casey's going to do things the wrong way here. He's actually just going to jump into the grain. Okay? Anybody in here ever walked in grain before? How far do you sink with every step you take?
The
To your knees.
Dust
so if I've
is
got
still
somebody
really,
trapped in
really
there,
strong here.
Where's that putting the pressure at now? On them. So Casey's just going to jump in.
and
Okay? Did you
put
feel
more-
him get in?
Yeah, he definitely
You did.
put more pressure
Alrighty.
on me when
so
he jumped in.
Jade's going to be on the
And
other
my-
side.
I'm
We're
even
going
more
to use
trapped.
a really high dollar piece of rescue crate here. It's a soda crate. Okay, we're going to take and we're going to put that upside down. Now, as Jade gets in, he's going to step into the
pop
middle
crates
of
in
the
here.
soda crate. He's not going to sink into the grain at all. And
Yeah.
Margie's going to say,
I did not feel Jade get in
I
here.
did not feel him get in.
Yeah.
Look at that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take
the
and
right
we're
way
gonna
to
put
do it.
6 soda crates all the way around our victim. And now we're going to start handing in the rescue tube. So it's important with the
Is this as
first
low as I'm gonna go?
panel, and
Oh,
if you
okay.
can't see up in the bin, you can see it on the screen. You can see the live shot of it there as to them getting in and doing that. So they're going to take the first panel and they're going to put it directly behind her, okay? I like to put the panel...
Okay,
that's
panel
gonna be
1 is
front of
going
the
in, so I am completely under.
If you're claustrophobic, that's going to get tight really, really quick. So I like to start from the back and build around. So once they get the soda crates in, they're going to start handing the panels in. So we need to worry about our victim having crushed.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely like pushing all the grain into my
with
legs.
that, the longer that they're
More.
in the bin, the more pressure is going to be on the grain. The grain's going to do in the 10 minutes or so that she's in here, it's going to put pock marks on her legs, okay? And it's going to take her body a full hour to push those pressure marks back out.
So they're building this around me, and I'm gonna get enclosed in this rescue tube. I'm gonna be completely enclosed in it here in a second. So far, so good. This is a tight space. Like, this is a tight little space. I am completely encased in this rescue tube. Completely in here. And it's right behind my back. Oh, yep, that's definitely going down. It's tighter and tighter. Just when you think it can't be any tighter, it is.
So they're taking and they're positioning the panels down around
the dust
her
in here
and the grain.
is
now, at
not
this
overwhelming,
point in
but I can
time,
see how it could
we
be
are
very quickly
adding
because my
more
nose is
pressure.
stinging from the dust going up.
They're going to start handing her some grain scoops to start with, okay? So these are $5 grain scoops. We're just going to start removing grain. Every kernel of
so they've
corn
got
that we
this
take out of
tube
there
built all around
is
me,
one more
and
until she comes loose.
my legs are packed in here so tight I can't move. I can barely wiggle my toes inside my shoes.
So as they're scooping that up, of course, the only way any grain could get back in there might be if they were to drop it.
I'm gonna scoop some more grain out here.
I've never seen that happen before. And just, there we go.
And there's grain on my head.
It could happen that the rescuer could drop that. So scooping is one way, but to go from the belly button to the knees, it's going to take 15 minutes.
Actually, the dust is kind of overwhelming when you.
So wouldn't it be nice if there was
stir it
a
up like
mechanical way that we could speed that process up?
So the auger's
We have
coming
that,
in now.
and that's the grain rescue auger, which they're lowering that in.
The dust is kind of overwhelming in here. That's one piece that I didn't expect. It is really strong. Okay, they're hooking up this auger, and they're gonna start pulling the grain out of this tube. Really loud.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, the biggest thing is just
Don't hit my head.
take some deep breaths, okay?
Yeah.
Let's pull this out of there.
All righty, so they were able to get her, and again, she had to use her arms to be able to pull up and be able to get herself out of there.
There's so much dust in there in like such a small space.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Foot and a half to 2 feet lower than the level
Good
of the
job.
grain
Thanks
outside.
for getting me
So
out.
if we go and we pull one of those panels, the grain's going to flow back in and retrap her, which we don't want to happen. So they're going to pick a panel that they're going to take her out of, and then she's going to come up. There's steps on the inside of the tube. They're going to put her feet on those steps and then take out the panel that's in front of her. That way, when the grain flows back in, it's not going to retrap her.
Okay.
Okay? There is the possibility of taking her out the top of the tube, but then you also have to need to worry about injuries that go along with it. So we'll see what we do here.
Now you should be able to watch that foot. Very good.
All right, so the grain's flowing back in.
Okay.
Grain flows back in, but it would definitely be taller than what
Yeah.
the feet
Can I
are
step
standing
out
on,
onto?
and it was a retrap.
Where do I step?
Straight forward, there you go.
Okay.
There's one right here too.
So they're going to
Good. Yeah, I'm shaky, but I'm good.
felt like to the inside.
Okay. I'm very shaky also. Yeah.
Thank you very much for going in.
Thank you.
How'd that feel?
It was scary, I won't lie. I mean, even though we have all the safety precautions around us, I can't imagine how scared a person would be if this happened without all of that around them, and how it struck me how much patience it took just in that short operation. Patience and calmness really will prevail in this situation, it's clear, but I was like, get me out in my brain. That's what my brain was saying, right? And that's what somebody else would be saying. So what a powerful thing. But my feet were completely entrapped. I couldn't move them. I could wiggle my toes barely.
Okay. So a lot of people will say that they can feel their heart beating in their feet. Did you feel that?
I could feel my heart beating everywhere, even before I climbed in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, again, this was a 6 foot wide bin. At any given point in time, you could have reached out and grabbed on and possibly stopped that sinking. But if this was a regular bin that was 60 feet wide and you were in the middle of it, what would that have felt like?
Like the scariest situation I can ever imagine. The other thing that surprised me, I mean, that's 120-ish bushels of grain. The dust was overwhelming right away. Like my nose still stinks. There's a lot of dust in there, and so in not an open room maybe, but in an enclosed bin, I'm sure that is also very overwhelming very quickly.
Absolutely. Alrighty, any last comments you want to let everybody know?
No, I would say thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to do this. I'm still shaky. I think it's such an important thing that we all pay attention to these things, because it can't be said enough. No lives ever need to be lost this way.
Absolutely. Thank you for volunteering. Really appreciate that. Somebody's trapped in there for multiple hours. The pressure,
the dust. That dust is so thick.
So I'd like to invite Tracy up.
Crazy. Well, that's something I don't ever need to do again.
Once again, we are, Nationwide is the #1 farm insured, and so not that this, once again, is an insurance issue, it is an industry issue, but with being the #1 farm insured, we feel like that we've got a real advocacy effort to save the lives of our farmer and our grain operations operators. So we're passionate about it. Once again, we want the program to grow. We want to give away as many rescue tubes as we can across as many different states as what we can. But the real focus of Grain Bin Safety Week, and especially this week, is raising the awareness and the education about the hazards of going into a grain structure.
There is a training component because, again, it is a confined space, so that means anybody that's going in to do a rescue needs to follow confined space procedures as well. So there are, I believe, 7 or 8 commercially available ag rescue tubes that are on the market. For the grain bin rescue side of it, we've delivered 111 tubes since 2014. Of those 111 tubes, 4 of them have already been successfully used in a rescue.
So last year in 2019, Cortevea Agriscience, we donated 21 grain bin rescue tubes. We work with NICAS on the training, and I had the privilege of attending a lot of those events and a lot of the donations and the first responder trainings. And at a lot of those events, Dan or somebody would ask and say, raise your hand if you either know a story personally, you've been personally affected, or you know of somebody who's been personally affected with grain entrapment. And it always amazed me how many people raised their hands. And then after the event, the tears would start flowing. I would have people coming up and sharing those stories, and sometimes the stories happened 30 years ago, but the tears were flowing about how if only this equipment would have been available, maybe my son would have been alive today. I mean, you know, it doesn't, lives don't have to be lost is the point. And you know, that's why I'm here today, right? And that's why our company is so passionate about this, is because 0 lives lost is the mission, and we can do that.
We have a website that's grainbinsafetyweek.com. They go to the site, they find the nomination form. We receive about 1,000 nominations per year. We have a team within Nationwide that ranks and files those, so the very best come up to the top, and those are who we award tubes to. I got to be honest with you, is that if we had all the money in the world, we would do all of them, because everybody's got a fantastic story about why they need a rescue tube. So fill out the form. My 2 cents is put as much narrative in about why you need the tube, that there are some collaborative efforts in between the other fire departments, rescue squads in the area, how that can be used, and submit more nominations than not just one, but more nominations than just one for a particular fire department.
So as I always say, everybody eats, and that is why farming will always matter. And all of these different parts and pieces of the food system, from the farmers who grow the food, to the people who keep them safe, to the awareness and even the media and how we can tell these stories, it really does matter. So don't forget, all of these people are here to make sure everybody eats.